You've seen how world leaders travel with convoys and armored jets, but some children are guarded like they hold the fate of nations. From royal heirs under biometric lockdown to tech heirs hidden by AI firewalls, this video reveals a world of protection far beyond presidents. And if you stay until the end, you'll meet the one child whose private army makes government security look outdated by comparison: Zuckerberg's children and the algorithmic fortress. In Silicon Valley, data is currency, privacy is power, and vulnerability is a design flaw. Now, imagine raising children in the center of that ecosystem, while being the man who built the infrastructure that makes anonymity nearly impossible. Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Meta, doesn't just protect his children like a billionaire, he protects them like a man who knows exactly how exposed every human life truly is. Over the last decade, Zuckerberg has reportedly invested more than $43 million into a private security program that blends military-grade physical protection with next-gen digital obfuscation, and it begins at the most personal level: identity. His children's digital presence doesn't exist. No names, no birthdays, no casual family photos on Instagram. Even within internal Meta systems, their profiles are deliberately fragmented, coded, and periodically wiped. AI is deployed not to monitor them, but to erase them, automatically scanning the web for unauthorized appearances, triggering takedown protocols within seconds. At home, former Mossad and CIA operatives manage perimeter security and behavioral analysis. Every person entering Zuckerberg's residence is subjected to facial recognition scans and movement tracking. The children's toys are air-gapped, disconnected from the internet entirely, and their educational devices run on closed networks built by Meta's own cybersecurity engineers. No third-party apps, no passive microphones, no chance of a digital footprint. The family vehicles are equipped with biometric ignition systems. Fingerprint and retina scans are required to even unlock child seating. Real-time drone surveillance covers every travel route, backed by machine learning models trained to predict high-risk encounters before they occur. These are not school runs, these are encrypted operations. Zuckerberg's approach isn't just about security, it's about controlled exposure, minimizing even psychological vulnerabilities. The children's social interactions are pre-vetted, communications are end-to-end encrypted, and their voices are never allowed to enter AI training datasets. For a man who helped create the attention economy, his children are raised in deliberate absence from it. This is not helicopter parenting, this is algorithmic parenting, where the line between love, legacy, and counterintelligence becomes nearly indistinguishable. Comment: privacy is a luxury now if you believe real security today means not being seen at all. Elon Musk's XAEA-12 and the Decoy travel network. When your father controls the satellites, rockets, and neural interfaces of the 21st century, childhood doesn't come with a playground, it comes with a threat matrix. XAEA-12, the son of Elon Musk, isn't just the heir to one of the world's most powerful tech empires. He is, by all accounts, treated as a mobile strategic asset, wrapped in a level of security few heads of state experience. His existence isn't merely guarded, it's engineered. Travel begins with multiple decoy vehicles, none of which follow the same route twice. Schedules are algorithmically altered in real time, responding to environmental variables like local surveillance density, mobile data spikes, and even social media chatter. Each movement is overseen by a private task force made up of former special forces operatives trained in low-profilized urban defense. His location is not only secret, it's digitally scrambled. Advanced AI-based behavior prediction software is used to model threat vectors days in advance. Rooms are scanned for ultrasonic bugs. Communications between staff are broken into rotating code channels, managed through an encrypted messaging protocol developed internally by SpaceX engineers. Even online traces are eliminated at the code level. Whenever an unauthorized image or mention of XAEA-12 appears online, a deep scanning content suppression tool originally developed for satellite data integrity flags and removes it. It's a process typically reserved for high-level defense programs, but here, it's applied to something as simple as a toddler's photo. The philosophy behind his protection is built on redundancy. Every room has an escape plan. Every toy has been inspected for passive signal emitters. His identity is fragmented across secure databases with biometric locks and dynamic security tokens that shift every 24 hours. There are no smart speakers in the house, no connected baby monitors, no exposed metadata. Elon Musk once said he worries more about AI than nuclear war. That mindset is reflected in how his child is protected, not with fences, but with algorithms. Every aspect of XAEA12's life is insulated from digital exposure, social engineering, and location triangulation. The result is a child who lives nowhere, leaves no trace, and travels like a state secret. Kim Jua and the totalitarian lockdown. In most countries, a head of state's child is surrounded by public fascination, camera flashes, and managed appearances. In North Korea, fascination is a liability, and visibility is a threat. Which is why Kim Ju-an, the daughter of Kim Jong-un, lives not in a household, but inside a containment protocol. Her name was unknown to the outside world until recently. Even then, details emerged not through official statements, but through orchestrated photo leaks that raised more questions than they answered. Every image of her is deliberate. Every movement is an operation. She isn't being protected like a child. She's being preserved like a nuclear launch code. Kim Jue's life is built around concentric military circles. Wherever she travels, multiple rings of armed security accompany her, including hand-picked operatives from Unit 974, the elite personal guard of the Kim dynasty. These aren't just bodyguards. They are conditioned loyalists, raised from childhood to see the preservation of the leader's bloodline as sacred duty. Her exact residence remains classified. Most intelligence analysts believe she moves between multiple fortified compounds across Pyongyang and Wonsan, none of which are visible on public satellite maps. Each compound includes underground escape systems, electromagnetic shielding, and food reserves capable of sustaining a siege for months. The buildings are guarded not only by soldiers, but by artillery divisions strategically placed at range, a military buffer designed for containment and retaliation. Beyond physical protection, Kim Jua is shielded by information control. No educational records are available, no voice samples have ever been leaked. Her digital presence is zero, not just because of state censorship, but because North Korea's internal surveillance system ensures her interactions occur entirely within monitored, analog environments. Her school instructors are believed to be intelligence agents. Her peers are selected not by age or talent, but by family loyalty to the regime. The secrecy is not incidental, it's weaponized. The Kim family legacy depends on the illusion of divine continuity, and revealing too much humanity, too much access, would collapse the mythology. In a regime where power is passed like sacred text, the next heir must remain untouchable, unknowable, and unstoppable. Kim Jua is not just a child of power. She is the future of a dynasty that survives not through politics, but through the total lockdown of reality itself. Sheikh Al Jalila, royal protection in a desert cloud. In the United Arab Emirates, where wealth is measured in oil, gold, and silence, few individuals exist under tighter control than Sheikh Al Jalila, daughter of Dubai's ruler. Her protection regime is estimated to be worth over $80 million, placing her among the most expensive children to secure on Earth. She doesn't just move through the world, she is orchestrated through it. Her core security detail operates through a hybrid network. At its foundation is a government task force drawn from the UAE's elite presidential guard, layered with ex-special forces operatives contracted from private security giants like G4S and Black Shield. These aren't bodyguards. They are multi-sentinel assets managed under encrypted protocols, outfitted with tech normally reserved for heads of state. Above ground, satellite-linked drone defense systems map every street, air corridor, and potential line-of-sight exposure. Below ground, her residences are embedded with biometric tunnels, temperature-controlled panic vaults, and AI-pampered facial recognition arrays. One estate in Abu Dhabi is estimated to have cost over $52 million, designed not only for royal living, but siege endurance. The child's digital existence is almost mythical. Her identity is stored in a closed-loop network designed by Emirati intelligence, stripped from public internet visibility. Facial imagery is scrubbed within seconds if detected online. Her voice is never recorded. Her school curriculum is delivered through a private intranet, with servers hosted on physical drives inside UAE military compounds. No external devices are permitted, not even guests carry phones. Every driver, teacher, and medical professional in her orbit is vetted by both state intelligence and privately contracted behavioral analysts. Even her pets are microchipped to integrate with perimeter defense systems. Travel plans are disguised through decoy flight manifests filed across multiple airports. When she boards, she walks into an aircraft worth more than $110 million, retrofitted with medical-grade isolation chambers and satellite uplinks connected directly to UAE Central Command. Sheikh Al Jalila is not just a child of royalty. She is the custodian of a bloodline, an economic empire, and a geopolitical symbol. Her life is not lived under protection, it is coded into it. Comment Royal Cloud Protocol if you think true power is now protected by code, not castles. Prince Jacques of Monaco, born into a lockdown city. When Prince Jacques was born in 2014, Monte Carlo didn't just celebrate, it shut down. Every border crossing, every rooftop, every harbor was locked into a state of coordinated silence. The level of security deployed rivaled a G20 summit. But this wasn't for a head of state, it was for a newborn heir. Prince Jacques isn't just royalty, he is the future of a sovereign tax haven that manages hundreds of billions of euros in discrete financial flows. His existence is a symbolic anchor to Monaco's status as a global wealth sanctuary. That means his safety isn't just personal, it's political, existential. The French government deployed the elite GIGN counter-terrorism unit, supported by Monaco's Compagnie de Carabiniers du Prince, in a coordinated joint protocol. Estimated to have cost over $30 million, the initial birth security operation included facial recognition checkpoints, biometric gates at every entry corridor, and an armored motorcade prepared to evacuate the royal family within 3 minutes of a perceived threat. From day one, Jacques has been guarded like a central bank. His nursery in the Palais Princier de Monaco is fitted with vault-grade blast doors, heat signature suppression systems, and satellite uplink emergency redundancy. The property itself, valued at over $400 million, sits within layers of airspace control zones, protected by French radar and drone jamming stations that also cover Monaco's harbor. As he's grown, the strategy has evolved into psychological defense. His schooling is private, his public exposure is precisely choreographed, and social interactions are engineered for trust insulation. No device with a camera enters his vicinity. Every photo taken in his presence is processed through military-grade watermark scanning to detect leaks. What makes his case exceptional is not just the money behind it, but the balance of soft power and armored deterrence. Monaco may be the size of a neighborhood, but its wealth, its politics, and its prince demand the force field of a capital city. Dassault Defense Heirs and the AI Shield. Their names are never published, their photos don't exist online, and if you try to follow their digital trail, it will loop you into a firewall before you even know you were seen. These are the children of the Dassault family, one of France's most powerful and secretive industrial dynasties, controlling vast portions of the European defense and aerospace sectors. Unlike the public-facing heirs of tech empires or monarchies, the Dassault heirs live inside an algorithm. Their locations are managed by predictive behavioral AI, not security guards with clipboards. Their routines are fed through deep learning systems trained to recognize subtle anomalies in digital behavior, an unexpected phone signal, a drone hovering in the wrong air corridor, a repeated license plate on traffic cameras. Before anything happens, the system has already triggered a counter move. Each child is assigned an armored convoy, but not a traditional one. These vehicles, valued at over $2.5 million each, are retrofitted military-grade units equipped with drone scanning technology, anti-ballistic mesh, and biometric cockpit controls. Each morning, before school or travel, the path is swept not just by security officers, but by autonomous aerial scouts programmed to identify thermal anomalies and movement patterns inconsistent with routine public activity. The estates themselves are built like fortresses disguised as vineyards. Heat signatures are scrubbed at the perimeter, surveillance towers are camouflaged as irrigation systems, and every room is fitted with acoustic anomaly sensors. Estimated to be worth over $180 million, the family's main residence has been redesigned to NATO-level specifications, including subterranean control centers and multi-channel communication shielding. Every week, digital identity cleansing cycles remove metadata from financial transactions, web activity, and biometric devices that children may have interacted with. Their social circles are curated by a private division within the family's own intelligence arm, and relationships are monitored through machine learning models designed to flag shifts in trust, tone, and sentiment. They are not just being protected from abduction or celebrity intrusion. Their existence is guarded as a counter-espionage asset, preventing competitors or foreign powers from gaining leverage over one of Europe's most critical military supply chains. The Dassault heirs don't live in hiding. They live inside a live-action risk matrix, where surveillance isn't a reaction. It's the environment. The global intelligence network that quietly bends for them. In the French countryside, behind estates that look like wineries and forests that never host tourists, the next generation of one of Europe's most influential defense dynasties is growing up in a reality crafted by surveillance algorithms and national security protocols. The Dassault family, rumored to control contracts worth tens of billions through aerospace and military partnerships, doesn't just protect its heirs from threats, it prepares them to exist without exposure. These children are monitored not by traditional security guards, but by a privately developed Predictive AI platform built in collaboration with retired cyber warfare engineers from NATO-aligned firms. This system doesn't wait for danger, it anticipates it. Daily routines are algorithmically mapped, and deviations are flagged in real time. Everything from the tone of a phone call to the speed of an approaching vehicle is analyzed for behavioral anomalies. Their transportation fleet resembles a military convoy more than a family chauffeur service. Each vehicle, valued at over $2.3 million, is an armored hybrid constructed with signal jamming infrastructure, anti-drone radar, and biometric ignition fail-safes. Before a single wheel turns each morning, airborne microdrones perform thermal scans of the route, analyzing movement patterns against stored behavioral baselines. Their residences, though hidden behind rustic aesthetics, are hardened compounds with acoustic shielding, satellite interference suppression, and multi-layered EMP refusant architecture. One compound in southwestern France is believed to include an underground crisis coordination room with real-time satellite feeds and emergency airlift capabilities. Its estimated value exceeds $190 million, though no formal records of its ownership exist in public registries. Even digital existence is carefully rationed. The children are never named in public databases. Their school attendance records are locked in encrypted local networks. Every device they interact with is scrubbed weekly through metadata cleansing cycles designed to eliminate pattern exposure. Social interactions are not just supervised but quantified. Relationship shifts are tracked by proprietary sentiment analysis models, identifying potential infiltration long before a threat materializes. This isn't security for reputation, it's protection for national leverage. Industrial espionage, foreign intelligence recruitment, and social engineering are treated not as possibilities, but as inevitabilities. The goal is not just to defend the children, but to prevent their very existence from becoming a point of vulnerability within Europe's strategic defense apparatus. They are not just heirs to contracts. They are embedded within the data architecture of continental stability. The codename Aegis, the invisible heir with a private army. In the world of classified protocols and multilateral surveillance, there exists a silent layer of exceptions. These are not written into law, they are embedded into discretion. Scattered across the systems of Interpol, NATO, and various unnamed intelligence agencies are protective files marked not for world leaders, but for their heirs. Not for politicians, but for private power. One of those names is Aegis. Interpol once suspended an operation after discovering that the target's location could intersect with the travel path of this child. The data was scrubbed. The officers were reassigned. The official explanation cited jurisdictional complexity. Unofficially, it was about containment. The child's logistical security package, valued by external analysts at over $120 million, includes influence channels so deep that even international enforcement mechanisms hesitate to trigger proximity alerts. NATO has its own version of this. Certain children, particularly those connected to families holding strategic leverage in defense infrastructure, global energy arbitration, or sovereign investment funds, are marked with what insiders call a soft shield. It's not immunity, it's caution. Surveillance is redirected, airspace is cleared in advance. Protocols are rewritten in real time to accommodate movement patterns. These children rarely know how far the network stretches. Their protection lives in shadow instructions sent to field agents, encrypted databases with priority filters, and legal departments that delay filings until relocations are confirmed. One child of a European industrial dynasty has a personal red flag trigger that activates inside multiple intelligence communities if any travel booking uses her biometric token. The system doesn't notify her family, it notifies heads of agency. This isn't favoritism, it's structural risk management. A security breach involving these children would not simply threaten an individual, it could destabilize markets, weaponize media, or trigger diplomatic spirals. Their parents don't hold office, but they hold portfolios that anchor currency valuations and supply chain stability. The child becomes the hinge between private empire and geopolitical balance. And so the laws bend. Not in public, not in writing, animal, but in action. Comment above jurisdiction if you believe some security isn't enforced by government, but by gravity. In a world where power is shifting from governments to private empires, the children of the elite have become more than heirs. They are assets, targets, and symbols of global leverage. From deepfake-proof communication systems to airspace enforcement protocols, their protection redefines what security means in the 21st century. And while Trump traveled with a full Secret Service detail, some of these children move with forces that report to no flag. If you found this eye-spoken, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Billionaire Story, and hit the bell so you never miss what power looks like before it even grows up.